The International Commission of Jurists expresses concern over the apparent breaches of separation of powers between the executive, legislative and judicial branches from May to August 2010 as the constitutional two-year period for the transitional arrangements ended on 7th August 2010. In a report published by the delegation of the ICJ on the assessment of the Maldivian judiciary, the delegation expressed grave concern about the reported threats to the judiciary as well as the setbacks in the promulgation of statutes, regulations and procedures necessary to establish permanent courts with the means to carry out their functions effectively. The report by the ICJ stressed on two developments in particular. One, the apparent failure of the Judicial Service Commission to fulfill its constitutional mandate of properly vetting and reappointing judges. Two, the apparent extra-constitutional use of the Maldives police force, the Maldives Defence Force, the police, and at times in defiance of the court orders. The ICJ reported that the decisions of the judiciary have been politicized and said the judicialization of politics was straining nascent judicial institutions in Maldives. Speaking to reporters on the findings of the ICJ delegation, ICJ Asia Pacific Director Roger Normand said the delegation was particularly concerned with the structure of the Judicial Service Commission. The delegation said to date the Judicial Service Commission's decision-making has been perceived as being inappropriately influenced by a polarized political environment. It also noted that it was troubling that members of the judiciary have been subject to threats and intimidation as well as improper inducements by both governing and opposition party members. The report also laid out recommendations to the Supreme Court, the Judicial Service Commission, the government, the Parliament and the donor community in order to develop a strong independent legal system. Following the publication of the findings by the delegation of the International Commission of Jurists, the Maldivian government today welcomed the findings and recommendations contained in the first comprehensive and independent assessment of the Maldivian judiciary since its transition into democracy. Speaking shortly after its release today, Ahmed Nassim, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, reaffirmed the government's commitment to upholding the independence of the judiciary, which he described as the final guarantor of the rule of law and the ultimate arbiter on constitutional affairs and one of the bastions of a liberal democracy. He said the government has been concerned for some time to some judicial independence has become synonymous with accountability. He said therefore he was pleased that the International Commission of Jurists has clarified that judicial accountability, though competence and integrity is not only compatible with judicial independence but rather is fundamental to it. The government of Maldives said they believe that the report represents a blueprint for a strong, independent, accountable and widely respected judiciary in the Maldives. The government assured it will, at earliest opportunity, seek a meeting with the Chief Justice to discuss how the ICJ's proposals can be taken forward in a collaborative and effective manner. The decomposed corpse found this morning on the uninhabited island of Diffushimadu in Lavian Atoll has been brought to Malé. The police service said the corpse was brought to Malé for further investigation and the body is not yet identified. The forensic police team met with the atoll doctors and they confirmed it was a man's corpse. According to the police, the corpse was reported by some of the people who went on a picnic to Olveli Fushi, located in the same lagoon as the Fushimadu. Police said further investigation is underway. A boat traveling from Malé to Lam Atoll catches fire and sinks. Authorities said there were 3 people in the safari when the incident took place and they were lucky enough to jump into a dinghy, thereby saving their lives. The police received the distress call at around 3 p.m. and they immediately went to the scene and attempted to put out the fire. According to police media officials, the safari boat sank while they were attempting to put out the fire. As for the 3 Maldivians inside the safari boat, they are safe and have been dispatched to Muli, located in Memo Atoll. The safari named Pritom was on its way to Lam Atoll to overhaul, and it was carrying fiber and fiber mat and resin for the purpose. According to MNDF, they received the call of distress at around 3 as well, and their firefighters were sent to the scene immediately. Unfortunately, the boat sank before the firefighters reached the scene. The President establishes administrative officers of local councils. These administrative officers would carry out the administrative tasks of every local council and assist the local councils, island councils and city councils to be established under the Act to perform their duties. According to the establishment of the administrative officers, atoll officers already in the atoll councils constituencies will be changed to atoll council administrative officers. In addition, island councils in each island council constituency will run as the island council's administrative office. Island officers currently in each island in Addu City will operate as a branch of Addu City Council's administrative office after the establishment of the Addu City Council. After the establishment of the Male City Council, Male Municipality will be the administrative office of the Male City Council, and Male Ward officers will operate as the branches of Male City Council's administrative officers. President Mohammad Nasheed inaugurates the second phase of Guli Falu development project. Speaking at a function to inaugurate the project, President Nasheed said Male will not survive without some solution to its housing, some solution to its congestion, some solution to the amount of oil that they were importing every day. He said the government would like to think that when it works in the Maldives, it will work in India, it will work in China and many other big countries. President Nasheed said the main idea is that Maldives is becoming carbon neutral, certainly is not going to save the world. He said the Maldives does not consume that much electricity, but would like to think that if Maldives can become an example, the rest of the world can have a look at it and people can actually see and understand that it is working. So in many senses, he said the whole project is a green project and at the center of it is a green park. The project also involves bridging Guli Falu and Willingili and hopefully also bridging Willingili to Male. It will have one long stretch of road that starts from the Tsunami Monument in Male and ends at Tilafalu. President Mohammad Nasheed thanked the Danish government, the ministers, the Prime Minister and of course the ambassador who had been actively in trying to facilitate everything to do with the project. The President later this afternoon visited Tilafalu and opened a road named Copenhagen Avenue on the man-made island. The Ministry of Home Affairs states that the Constitution is not clear as how the local government authorities members should be elected. Home Ministry revealed this while briefing the media about the oath-taking procedures of the elected councillors. The Minister of Home Affairs, Hassan Afif, said the swearing ceremony of the councillors in cities, atolls and islands are programmed to take place on Saturday. They are negotiating with the Elections Commission regarding the matter. He noted that there is a way to overcome this problem, taking a look at how local council election was carried out. Local government authority is further up the ladder to the local council. Until the local government authority is formed, the Ministry of Home Affairs will look after the matters regarding the local councils. The new British High Commissioner accredited to the Maldives, John Rankin, says that Britain will continue to play an active role in the development of Maldives. Before concluding his visit to Maldives to present his credentials to the President yesterday, John Rankin gave an exclusive interview to MNBC One and he shared his objective plan for his term as the High Commissioner. He said he was willing to work to assist in strengthening democracy in Maldives to achieve a sustainable democracy. He said both countries have common interest in the trade and in trade and investment. He noted that 100,000 British tourists that visited Maldives every year and said British companies would find business in Maldives as it developed economically. He said as both the countries have common interest in climate change issues and human rights issues, and those they are willing to work together with the Maldives for a better solution. The British High Commissioner accredited to Maldives, John Ranking, also highlighted that he would work to facilitate Maldivian students to help them produce their visas as fast and effectively as possible, and that they want to make it a useful service to the people in Maldives. The new ambassador to Poland accredited to Maldives, Professor Piotr Koldowski, has presented his letter of credence to President Mohamed Nasheed today. At a ceremony held at the President's office, the President congratulated Ambassador Koldowski. Meeting the new ambassador afterwards, the President said that there were many areas where the Maldives and Poland could work amicably for the progress of the peoples of both countries. In particular, the President and the Ambassador discussed the ways in which the Maldives could benefit from Poland's experience in democracy building. The President today also met with the European Parliament's delegation for relations with the countries of South Asia currently in the Maldives. Speaking at a meeting, the President expressed his appreciation for the European Union's long-standing engagement with the Maldives and the EU's assistance to the Maldives. The President also updated the members of the European Parliament on the process of consolidating democracy in the Maldives. The President responded to queries by the members of the delegation on the democratic process, in particular focusing on women's empowerment, expansion of the role of media, transparency and consolidating the role of Parliament in a fully fledged democracy.